It is in public domain that it is Rigathi who made an attempt on Raila Odinga's life during the 2023 demonstrations, when he instructed security officers to aim at him. To date, he has never mourned Raila. It's a fact he hated Raila with a passion. In fact, now, he has transferred the hate to me. The other day I was traveling with him in the same plane, British Airways from London. He refused to greet me. He refused. I told him, how are you, Mheshimiwa? No, don't greet me. I told him, what have I done? No, don't greet me. His wife Dorcas greeted me. Told me, no, just sit down. So that is the man we are discussing here in Kenya. You know, the opposition in this country has been reduced to the level of Rigathi Gachagua. It's very we are in a very sorry and sad state of affairs in this country. Yeah. Look at the kind of opposition we used to have in this country. And look at the garbage today we are listening to as opposition. Filthy. Talking about communities, ukabila, tribalism, you know, shares, what? That is how the opposition has been reduced to. It's very sorry side of state. God willing, we will have a proper opposition in the near future. People who will deal with issues affecting Kenyans in a proper manner. Not an extortionist who is extorting money all the way from aspirants of MCA in DCP to members of parliament, to governors, to senators. I know why he's ranting today. It's because of what happened in Naivasha the last 2 days. He saw the numbers. He saw the force. He saw the organizational, you know. Now he has realized he's only working with 3 people. A man who cannot shave his beard, and another one, we don't know what he is, just making noise here in Kiambu. So he's scared, I know. And I know he will get, I knew yesterday, with those numbers, Rigathi will get scared, and he'll start maligning people's names. You know, long time in parliament here, in the old constitution, members of parliament used to be told to go get proficiency in English or Swahili. It's high time now we introduce a bill in this parliament that psychiatric test must be done on leaders. You go to Dr. What is his name? Dr. Njeng Franka, and you get a certificate. Because imagine having a madman like Gashagua in a leadership position. You know, madness is not removing clothes only. You can be dressed with a suit and a tie and you're a madman. You're a madman. Now, he has forgotten all these things that my leader has talked about. Rigathi cannot talk about public debt. I saw him talking about public debt today. He is incompetent to talk about public debt. He lacks the elementary understanding of economic management. When he was the deputy president, he considered that he lacked the understanding of economics in public. You remember? He said, "Mimi sijui mambo ya economics." That is why he never ever participated in any single meeting on economic recovery. He was in shock that we had taken over a government as broad-based, where inflation was high, the exchange rate was high, and the country was almost defaulting on its debt with empty public coffers. Kenya's economy is now growing at 5%, higher than the global average of 3.3% of Africa, which is 3.8%. The IMF now ranks Kenya as the 6th largest economy in Africa. Of course, this is beyond Rigathi's comprehension. That's the truth. Rigathi claims that government-to-government agreement on fuel supply is fraud. Further reveals how clueless he is on matters global affairs. Kenya is the only country in the region that has managed a steady supply of fuel, thanks to G2G, which is now being adopted by neighboring countries. To secure social justice, the government of Kenya has developed a reparations framework and proceeded to compensate victims of protest and riots from as far back as 2017. I know why he's opposing that. Because he participated in maiming and killing of ODM supporters in the streets after the election. We know. Why was he going to the office at 5 a.m. in the morning? In darkness. He was planning against Baba. He was planning against ODM. Now, the compensation panel has processed 680 claims and paid out more than 674 million to 555 verified victims. In addition, 472 eligible claimants have had their state compensation delayed or put on hold due to insufficient supporting documents. Rigathi is on a fishing expedition. Desperate for attention, to salvage his dwindling political virtues, disillusioned by his lack of national influence and bleak political future. He's a liar, a cheat, a conman, a political turncoat. A conman, callous and extremely unpatriotic. No wonder he has a dark heart. Lastly, I want to say this, and this one I want to make it very clear to him. ODM, my party, will never be in any formation that has Rigathi Gachagua inside. No. For now, into the future, and even for the next 50 years, if he's still alive. So stop talking about ODM. We will never be with you. And if ODM is dead, as you are saying, why are you talking about it? If ODM is dead, why are you talking about it? Do we normally talk about dead people? No. Why are you talking about a dead thing? He knows ODM is not dead. He knows very well that he has lost this plot. He wants us to be in the street and continue being in government until we removed him here for gross violation of the Constitution. If an impeachment motion is brought tomorrow again against Rigathi, we will still do it. With this kind of character I'm seeing here, we will even do it. So thank you very much. That is my contribution to this, and that is the position of our party, ODM.
Maybe you'll be asking yourselves why we have chosen to respond to Mr. Gashagua, we pretend deserves or warrants no response. And if you listen to Gashagua's almost 140 paragraphs, there were paragraphs of bitterness, conspiracy theories, unsubstantiated accusations, and political fiction directed at President William Ruto and this broad-based administration. Ordinarily, such a performance from somebody who has confessed to the country that he was an arts performer when he was in school would not merit a response. But when a former holder of the second highest office in the Republic casually accuses institutions and individuals of murder, assassinations, theft, abduction, and corruption without presenting evidence, the record ought and must be set straight. And that is why we opted to respond to Mr. Gachagua. And if we begin with the irony of all this, Mr. Gachagua is attempting to take stock of the 4 years of the Ruto administration, an administration that he served for a record 2 years of those 4 years. He sat in cabinet, he sat in National Security Council meetings, and he defended this government, its policies and its record, and even defended that unfortunate act in Embakasi when he attempted to assassinate the former Prime Minister, the late Honorable Raila Odinga. You will all recall all the acts of goonism perpetuated by Rigathi and directed by him would always be planned by him when President William Ruto was outside the country. That is what he did that day he attempted to assassinate the former Prime Minister. That is what he did when he directed goons under the command of 2 members of parliament from Embakasi who are working with him today. The same members of parliament who are under investigations for deaths in all Kalau that Rigathi turned around to accuse other people of. Those goons that attacked the Kenyatta farm in Ruiru. Again, I'll remind Gashagua, as I have reminded him severally, I sat with him in Annex building on Harambee Avenue when he was planning for the attack of the Kenyatta farm in Ruiru. And that is why I have consistently challenged Mr. Gachagua to come out. And you have heard Gachagua has never bothered to respond to those issues because he knows they are truths. When I speak about Rigigun, I'm talking about somebody I know, somebody I have worked with, somebody I have sat in meetings with as he planned goonism in this country. Let us remind Gashagua that he was not removed from office because of President William Ruto. He was impeached by the elected representatives of the Kenyan people in the National Assembly, tried by the Senate, and removed from office after the Senate upheld 5 grounds against him, including gross violations of the Constitution and undermining the President and the Cabinet. That is his record. So Rigathi cannot be the person lecturing us today, purporting to be giving a scorecard of what we have done. As we have said, Kenyans will judge this administration at the end of next year, this term, next year in August. And yesterday, we detailed to the Kenyan people the achievements that we have had in agricultural production. Just as I mentioned, the agricultural sector has very well recovered. Construction returned to growth of our economy. Investor confidence has strengthened in our country, and the country has undertaken some of the most consequential structural reforms since independence. That is Ruto at 4. Millions of farmers today have access to subsidized fertilizer, which has lowered their cost of production and helped restore national food production. A packet of maize that was retailing at 260 shillings only 2 years ago or 3 years ago is today retailing at an average of 160, and some brands down to 140 shillings. That is Ruto at 4. Universal health coverage has moved from a promise discussed by successive regimes and administrations into an actual national system being implemented across the country, with primary health care, community health promoters, and a new financing architecture designed to ensure that sickness does not become a sentence to poverty. Today, the same Rigathi who was telling Kenyans SHA does not work has witnessed villagers in Wamunyoro getting help as their bills are sorted under SHA. Mr. Gashagua may ridicule the affordable housing program. The mason earning a living does not ridicule that program. The young electrician getting his first contract does not ridicule that program. The mother moving her family from an informal settlement into a decent home will not ridicule this program, as those in Mukuru who have already moved to their houses and many other housing programs will not ridicule. That is Ruto